Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of the Tigers Baseball Podcast. This episode recorded on Monday, September 2nd, 2024. I am your host, Chris Schulte, of course, and we are going to just step right into where we need to be. Finally, back over the 500 mark. Swept the White Sox, did what we had to do, took care of business against Boston, took care of business against the Angels. And you know what? I called it. I said on this show, on this podcast last week, that Javi Baez was done for the season. Arthroscopic surgery on his right hip. He's done. And you know what? I got a feeling we're not going to see anything more of him for the... I don't think he's coming to training camp next year. I don't think he's going to be in spring training. I don't think he's a Tiger anymore. I think he's going to they're going to find a way to part ways and everything will be fine. So, and that's good for Javi. It really is. And actually, I know, now that I think about it, I did bring this up last week. So there you go. But that takes us into the injury report. Reese Olson threw 2 bullpen sessions and threw live BP on Saturday and looked really good. Winsel Perez was actually taking live BP against Reese Olson from the left side. According to AJ Hinch, he's doing his right-handed work inside and his left-handed work outside. He's just a little bit behind on the right-handed work, which is the side that he was batting from when he actually strained his oblique. So that's not a surprise. But his right-handed work is just a little bit behind his left-handed work. Now, what I'm wondering about when he says inside, I'm wondering if that means like the batting cages under Comerica Park or in this case, Petco Park. I don't think there's batting cages under the Oakland Coliseum. I think there's more sewer rats under the Oakland Coliseum instead of batting cages. But, you know, who knows about that. But I'm guessing that's what he means when he says inside, but I don't know. So Winsel Perez is taking batting practice. Reese Olson my guess is he's got another pen session this week. He's got a live BP this week, and then he's going on a rehab assignment next week. Probably won't be for very long because they want to get him into some meaningful games. And, next week is a home series, is a couple of home series, and, big games coming up for Detroit. We've got Baltimore coming into town. We've got Tampa coming into town still. We got the Rockies coming into town. And the White Sox. And then we only got one more road trip. We got Kansas City and Baltimore after this week. So we've got the West Coast side, and then we've got Kansas City and Baltimore on the road. And the rest of the series are home series. So we've got a chance to make hay while the sun shines here. And, we're only 5 games out of the third wild card spot. This team could still make it, folks. This team could still make it. It's an outside shot. You're a game behind Boston, and you're 5 games behind Kansas City. Minnesota was winning over Tampa earlier tonight. I don't know if they ended up winning or not. So now they're 5.5, or they're depending on what Boston did, they're 6 games back of Minnesota. If Minnesota won. At the time of this recording, Detroit has just dropped their opener against San Diego 3-0. Joe Musgrove looked like an all-star. And really, Ty Madden was the one that spit Brendan Hannafy was he gave up an unearned run, but Ty Madden was the one that spit the bit, and he didn't do too badly. It was just one rough inning where he gave up 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th to put the game out of reach. The Tigers, however, just didn't execute. They had runners on 5 of the last 6 innings of the game in scoring position. They had runners on second, and a lot of those situations were runners on second with nobody out, and they just couldn't get them in. So tip your hat to San Diego and come back on Wednesday and try to get him again. That's all you can do. Detroit is 32-23 since the 1st of July. Put that all together and you get one game over 500, 70-69. And you know what? We're loving it here at the Schulte household. I'm really thrilled about this. So there you go. Casey Mize came back on Friday. Didn't pitch too badly. Went 6, gave up 3. Detroit lost to Boston 3-0. Sorry, they lost to Boston 7-5 in that game. Saturday, they of course won 4-1 or 2-1. Tarek Skubal out dueling his opponent, whose name escapes me because he's not a Detroit pitcher, so who cares? But Tarek Skubal got his 200th career strikeout, or not career, but 200th strikeout of the year. He's got 201 strikeouts now in going into September. We will see him on Friday against Oakland. I don't think AJ is going to push him on 4 days of rest. He pitched Saturday. He's got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. My guess is that he pitches him to open the series in Oakland on Friday. He's going to try to watch what innings are left for Skubal because, I mean, he hasn't pitched more than 150 innings in the big leagues in a season. So this is his biggest workload yet. And, you know, you gotta watch what's going on. I mean, he's recovering. He had flexor tendon surgery last year or in 2022. He's had Tommy John surgery when he was in college. So you got to be careful with that arm, especially as good as he is and with what he can mean to this team. And why Scott Harris has not signed him to a contract extension is beyond me. But he needs to, because this is a guy that you said he wants to retain talent. That's what he said in his opening press conference, his first ever press conference. We want to obtain, maintain, and retain talent. Well, guess what? This is part of maintaining and retaining talent. You have to sign Tarek Skubal to a contract extension. Has to happen this offseason, because you don't want to you don't want to put yourself in a hole when it comes to signing him to an extension. You just don't, because you're going to be battling against the Yankees. You're going to be battling against the Dodgers. You're going to be battling against Atlanta. You're going to be battling against these big market teams that have a lot more money than we do if he goes out onto the free agent market, and you won't get him back. So you better sign him now. So, but that's easy for me to say sitting in this chair at this desk. It's a lot harder to take care of in the real world. So Spencer Torkelson hit another home run on Saturday. That's his third since coming back. He's hit 3 homers in 15 games. He had 4 homers in 51 games before getting sent down. It's still a work in progress with Torque, but I think he's going to be okay next year. We'll see how it goes. But the big thing for him is having a good spring training. Really, you look at 2022, he had a really good spring training. And 2023, he had a really good spring training. This year, he didn't. In 2022, he didn't. So, I mean, he had an okay spring training in 2022. He had a pretty rough one this year. So really, if he has he's one of those players that if he has a good spring training, look out, because he'll be decent. So, as I said, Detroit took 2 out of 3 from LA, and took 2 out of 3 from Boston, and swept the White Sox. The White Sox are going to lose 140 games, and I am not sad about this at all. I am very much not sad about this at all. So there you go. I saw something on Twitter yesterday. No, it's on Saturday. I saw something on Twitter on Saturday. Well, it might have been early yesterday morning. And I kind of want to respond to this because, and I know the guy's not listening. I understand that. But there was a comment made of, why is Ryan Kreidler still with the big club? And I kind of got a little upset about it. Ryan Kreidler is one of, if not the best defensive shortstop in our system right now. Gage Workman is good, but Gage Workman's not major league ready. Ryan Kreidler's defense is major league ready. Yeah, he's not hitting, but he's not hitting because he's not playing every day. You get a young hitter that's not playing every day, and it's hard for that young hitter to come out and show signs of growth. All he's doing is getting at bats against left-handed pitching. He's not starting against right-handed pitching. So he really doesn't have a chance to put together a game-to-game-to-game record. And it's tough because AJ Hinch AJ Hinch wants to win, but he also wants to develop these guys. And I'm sure he wants to help Ryan out as much as he can. But right now he needs to have his this lineup is winning for the most part. And so I get why people get upset, but really, who do you have in the pipeline that's going to be better than Ryan Kreidler right now? Gage Workman? Not really. Kevin McGonigal's got a broken hand. Bryce Raynard is just signed. Peyton Graham is sort of the forgotten infielder right now, but really, who do you have that you can plug in at the big league level? You're going to start Trey Sweeney against lefties and righties? I mean, at what point do you just say, look, this is what we have? Why are you complaining when the guy is outstanding defensively? So he hits number 8 in your lineup. Big deal. If the top 7 in your lineup produce the way they're supposed to, he doesn't have to do a lot in the 8 spot. So I'm kind of annoyed at people for taking that viewpoint of, why is this guy here, when they don't look at the big picture. The big picture is there's nobody better in the system. So that's why he's here. And you know what? Maybe he's a spring chicken. Maybe he's a spring training darling because he had an over 1,000 OPS this spring before he broke his hand again. But I have a feeling that there's something in there as far as a hitter is concerned. If this guy comes up and sticks with the team and hits 230, 240, and does it in a solid manner, he doesn't have to hit like 240 with 20 home runs. He hits 240 with 10 bombs and 50 runs batted in, get you 20 steals, and plays the defense that he can play. That's a win. That's better than Javi Baez ever gave to this club. So I think people should tone it down on Ryan Kreidler, and I think people should understand just what they have and be happy for where we are. So with that, I will say so long and thank you for listening. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can. TigersBaseballPodcast@gmail.com. It's the world's longest email address. I'm proud of that. At TBPodcast at tweezecake.social is the Mastodon info. At Podcast Tigers on Twitter. You can catch me at any one of those 3 places. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll catch up with you next week, and go Tigers.